Hey everybody, it's Quicken and welcome back to 5 Fact Friday. I'm sorry if you see me like snugging up or I'm wearing pajamas, but today is a special day. I'm heading home and I'm gonna grab my little brother, bring him back to the city, and we're gonna do like Christmas stuff because apparently he's not having the experience this year. And kind of either am I. I don't feel like super excited on Christmas. Last night I was like, this is a made-up holiday. I'm a little back to reality on that, you know. The only thing I really want from Christmas is just like a hug and maybe some words exchanged about gratitude and feelings about the previous year. A nice hug. That's all I want. Psst, psst, psst. Hey! What are you doing? Are you exchanging words of gratitude about the previous year? That's all I really want. I don't know. I just, I'm that guy who feels really guilty receiving gifts. And I'm also that guy with student loans. So I wrote down some of the questions on this raw piece of cardboard, and we're gonna get started. In all honesty, do you think it's too late to start a real internet following without fancy equipment and etc.? I got this question on Tumblr, and I am kind of like an advocate for, like, if you want to exist on social media, like, by all means you should. And I don't think that equipment should hold you back. Now I feel a little bit raw about saying it because I did upgrade this camera. But this really isn't a top-line camera. You know, there are people putting out content way higher quality than me all the time, way more experience, like went to school for this stuff. So you can kind of find yourself at any experience level. And I wrote something about this on Tumblr. I think that you can also appeal to the demographic that like you want to appeal to. And I don't think that you need to have like a a huge following in order to like exist on the internet and express your creativity. If you're looking for like immediate success, I think that you'll never really find it. I mean, you might. There are people doing that stuff and they find the success. But I think you just have to create content that like is in your brain and you want to create and you want to put out there. And if people see it and they like it, like that's cool. And if people see it and they don't like it, that has to be cool. And if people never see it, that has to be cool too. If that makes sense. Like my Tumblr started off as like a personal diary. And when people started to view it, there was an exchange that I had with myself that was like, oh no, like, do I regret saying that? Do I regret putting that out there? And then I was like, well, maybe no one else will see it. And when I was creating content for just myself and then people started to watch, that is kind of like where my whole story and my whole like, what was the phrasing on here? Internet following. Well, I don't know. I never did anything based on creating an internet following. I think there are definitely people out there who could answer this question better because they have better experience and they may have like follower growth that's like very apparent and stuff like that. But my Tumblr started without any equipment. Like, I'm not trying to be like rags to riches over here, but you know, I didn't have a computer. I had an iPod Touch, and that's all I ever had until I moved in with John and started using his computer. So I started the Tumblr on the iPod Touch. It's all I ever had, unless I was using the computers at my school in the computer lab, and then they got really strict about that. And if you just create content and, you know, little blog posts, if you want to do photos, if you have a little niche thing that you love, if you're like, look at my cat every single day, I think if you just do it to the best of your ability and you're humbled by your followers, it doesn't really matter what you have. I am a huge advocate for, like, you don't need top of the line stuff in order to create content, because I never ever did. Like, John and I have this joke that, like, we missed Tinder because we were dating. And I was like, well, I didn't get an iPhone until we were already dating, so I guess I missed it, but I also, like, couldn't even tune in. So yeah, I don't know. I remember, I was, like, corresponding with Max Kuhn, and he had sent me, like, a sketch or something a few years ago, and I was like, oh, I can't open it, I don't have picture messaging. And I remember he was like, what the fuck? Why don't you have it? I just think a lot can be done without amazing equipment, and if you're like me, and now you don't know how to use your equipment, I have caught a level 50 Blastoise, but I just started the game, so I can't use it. I think if you have great ideas, and you want to dabble and you want to get your feet wet, start putting them out there, because that's the best way to understand what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right. You can't, like, come out of the gate, like, pumping out great content. You have to know what works for you. You have to know, you know, what, like, if you post something and you're like, I don't like the way that turned out, you have to, like, know how to identify that feeling. And I think an organic audience will eventually happen. But not if you're striving for, like, a huge following. You have to just put yourself out there, and if people like it, they like it. Put the thing out there. It doesn't have to be you. What's your opinion of lyrics tattoos? I know they seem to be looked down on in the tattoo community. I don't know if they're looked down on. I think the whole, like, tattoo community, I think that's a little hard. I come from an era of body modification where we all existed on BME Zine, and BME Zine was, like, a really supportive community where I feel like people were kind of pioneering different body modifications, different healing techniques, different things like that, and I think everybody on BME Zine was supportive of one another. I really don't think there was this whole, like, that's cheesy, or I'm looking down on you right now, I'm better than you superiority. I know I was in the septum stretching community on there, and it was all love, and now I have this huge gaping septum hole. I think that there are a lot of these, like, weird little rules, and I don't know who's making them up. Like, you have to earn your tattoos, and you have to get a hidden tattoo before you get a visible tattoo, and all this stuff. Like, you have to have your sleeve before you get your stomach. I don't know. I don't know who's making up all these rules, but I think you can get whatever you want. I'm totally an advocate for that. I'm saying advocate a lot in this episode. I'm an advocate for wearing your pajamas on 5 Fat Friday. Me personally, I had some lyric tattoos and I got them removed, and that is because I didn't like people reading them. But I think other people are happy, like when I had Hannah on Tattoo Talk Tuesday, I don't know if you saw that, but in that episode I said, like, I have a hard time having visible tattoos that people can identify because I don't like being approached. And she said, I like having tattoos that are easy to identify because I like being approached. And you can fall anywhere in between that, like I had to be in a good mood to be approached and stuff like that, but people reading my tattoos kind of, like, made me feel weird. I don't know how many times I've said it. There was a really clear experience I had where I was at the coffee shop and there were 2 tourists, and the woman reached over and she was like, Miss, my husband is trying to read your tattoo. And I was like, ugh, yuck, no. And I was like, excuse me, I'm working at a job to provide to you. And I'm not trying to be cocky, because there's a ton of comments that are like, why would you get or LOL, she gets tattoos but she doesn't want anyone to read them. Or she gets tattoos for attention and then gets angry when people look. I get it. But there were just times, like, one time I was on the stairs and 2 girls behind me were trying to read my tattoo. And I don't know. I just don't like that. Where's the etiquette there, too? I don't know. So, that's kind of how I feel. And with lyric tattoos, you know, if you get them somewhere just for you, like, that's totally fine. I think You know, one day though, you might be like explaining your tattoo for the 50th time and you just lose steam on it. But that could be for any of your tattoos. Mine are a lot more like image based, so I feel like you view them and you know instantly like, oh, that's bold and I'm into it, or that is a bird from a coloring book. I've seen better tattoos. So that's kind of how I feel. You don't have to feel the way I feel. I think if you want to get tattoos, you should just get them. But I just got rid of my lyric tattoos because I felt people reading them and that made me feel weird. Wear a shirt with words on it for a couple weeks and see how much that bothers you, people reading your shirt, and maybe it might be similar. That's off the top of my head. So I got this question from Tumblr and I thought it was a pretty good one. Have any of your exes from your Exfiles series seen your show? How would you react if they did? So, if you're only here for 5 Fact Friday, I have a series on my channel called the Exfiles. It's all about like little dating failures I've had. And the show came out because I've had like some interactions with guys and I've had a few stories that are like so crazy that I was like, alright, I told this story to John, it's insane, maybe I'll share it. But I try to do a good job about concealing the identity of the guys. If there's any like very clear identifying factors about them, usually I'll exclude that from the episode. But I try to keep everything really truthful. But if there's something really obvious that would completely instantly identify them, usually I'll keep that out. And with that though, I don't think any of them potentially will ever see it. Like, I don't want to jinx myself, and I don't want to like activate someone out there in the internet space who is like, I'll show her, ha 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 ha, private detective hat. But I just say that like a little bit with confidence just because the stories I do share are like the funny ones, the like little like I can't believe that happened. And I feel like those men either never thought about me ever again, or maybe they think the same thing, like that was a wreck, checking out of that life. So I don't know, like there's like some serious stuff I've been through, some serious relationships, hard breakups, or like just like love that we both felt that I won't share. So you can hear the silly relationships and stuff, but like the true, like the really hard ones for me, or the ones where like we were in love and it just didn't work out, like those I won't share because I want to keep those and I don't want to like add like a comedic element to them. And I mean, isn't that how all of us cope anyway? But sometimes I just want to like hurt a little bit longer for some of the other things. So those I won't share. And those are the ones that I would be worried about hurting their feelings anyway. I mean, 2 or 3 of them I was a little bit worried because I was like, oh no, they're on social media too. But for some of them, like, I literally have never heard of the person ever again. They've never heard of me. You know, I do feel a little bit weird about, like, people from potentially my high school finding out about my channel. Instagram kind of does this new thing now where they recommend people for you to follow. And, like, 2 of them were from my high school, and I was like, I hate this feature. Please stop. Because I feel so separated from my previous life, and I don't want anyone to come in and benefit and be like, I supported Amanda, because you didn't. And I don't know, I'm just so afraid of that previous life. But I also have confidence that, like, nothing has really come from it. No one from, like, in the comments, I've never seen anyone like, I went to high school with Amanda. She was the worst. So I think it's all love here. And with that, I'm not super worried about, like, the kid from my community college who got drunk in that English class, so I drove myself home in his car. I'm not too worried about him coming back. Quicken, I happened to find your channel, watch through your 335 video selection, and I happened to find one that I felt was talking about me. Do you want to address that? I think I'm a little safe in that sense, but also it's all silly and it's all love. So I'm not like super worried about that. I haven't said anything like too supremely toxic, and I mean, I have written a short story or two about one of the stories, because that one kind of messed me up, but it's still funny. I don't know. If you don't watch the series The Exfiles, I have it in a playlist. There's 8 of them now, and it's just little dating, little stories I have that are the worst. Hopefully I have a few left, because I do really like doing the Exfiles. I saw your comments where you're like, get John to do the Exfiles, get some of your friends to do the Exfiles. And I think it's a good idea. I just think it's a hard request, because you can be like me and like take pleasure out of your misfortune and turn it into a funny little series. But then people like John are like, I don't know what happened, but I've seen some of his ex-girlfriends and they look pretty cool, so I don't want to mess that up. Like, if you're out there with your tattoos and you're looking pretty cool, like, I get you, girl. I don't need John to come mess that up for you on the internet. So I don't really know his story, but I see the girls sometimes and I think they're cool, so I don't want to bother them with what he has to say. Yeah, like, I don't know. I have this one story where I was on OkCupid, and I eventually deleted my OkCupid, but my roommate made one and her friend made one, and you know, we were all like with each other all the time. So I made one too, and I had this date with this guy, and you know, he was already mad because like I didn't have an iPhone, so he's like, send pictures, and I was like, there's pictures of my profile, so I put them there. And then we ended up meeting, and when I met him, I hated him. Like, in his pictures, I thought he was my age, and then, like, clearly he was, like, mid-30s, which there's nothing really wrong with. Like, I've definitely dated, like, an older guy before, but I don't know. He had, like, you ever see, like, I guess from, like, the Jersey Shore, those like designer pants that like have like crosses and like chains and stuff on them, like that. And then I feel like he had a headband on when he like came to meet up with me, and immediately I was like, no. And we had decided to meet up because he was like hungry for vegetarian food, and I was like, oh, same. And then, like, so he came to West Philly to get me, and when he picked me up, he was like, yeah, I really love vegetarian fish sandwiches. And I was just like, the chains and the headbands. So I texted my one roommate. So I was like, can you call me and pretend that you're locked out? And she was like, yeah, why? And I was like, please. So she called, and I was like, oh, you lost your keys? I'll come right home. And then he was like, oh man, what a bummer. I can come and meet your roommates. And I was like, absolutely not. So I was like, I'll walk you to your car. We'll try again another time. And then he had texted me and was like, I feel like you set that up and that was fake. And I was like, honestly, it was, and we didn't have a connection, and I didn't vibe with you, and I'm really sorry. I didn't want to make an Exfiles about that story because I felt really bad, because I feel like that dude can exist in whatever world he exists in without commentary from me, even though I just told the story. But I did feel really bad about that. I wanted to escape that date 1,000 times over, but I felt really guilty about it. So some experiences I like feel a lot of guilt about. The other 8 episodes are okay. This one I wrote upside down. So this is my last question, and I got this on Tumblr. And this says, I understand the reason why, parentheses, obviously you have a real job, but I'm sad that it is so hard to reach you on Snapchat. I've snapped you before and you responded. I'm sorry, I can't read my own handwriting. I've snapped you before and you responded before. I wish there was a way that I could reach out to you more, but I get it. So, sorry, it was a little hard to read that, but I think what it was trying to say is, like, I reached out to you and before it was easy and now it's a lot more difficult and I don't get responses from you. I actually had to stop using Snapchat. I opted to create a Twitter, which, a few weeks ago I was, like, really kind of pushing that, and that's because I can access Twitter on the computer, and that's a little easier for me. I do have a pretty old iPhone. You know, I have an iPhone 5, and I'm the type of person who, like, until it's broken, I'm not going to replace it. So with my phone and everything like that, it becomes harder and harder for me to open Snapchat on my phone just because it does have, like, a lot of high volume of snaps and stuff. And so I kind of was just like, hey, you know, you want to get a hold of me, here's my Twitter, and I'm checking the Twitter every day, and it's easier because I can open it on a computer that has, like, a hard drive and a processor that can accommodate, like, high volume. And it's hard for me because I can't just have my Snapchat and, like, idly watch people snapping me all the time and just, like, not answering them. That was, like, hard for me. So now that Snapchat kind of has that, like, now that Instagram has, like, adopted that, like, Snapchat kind of feel, I will, like, do, like, daily posts of that to, like, get that feeling. But yeah, it's pretty hard, and it's hard on my end too. Like, I'm never just sitting in bed like, look at all these fucking snaps, ah! There have been plenty of times where, like, John and I are about to go do something, and I'm like, well, let me check some of these snaps first. And, I mean, that was a little while ago, but it used to be something I would check all the time. Like, if you followed me for a while, you know, beauty school, I definitely would check my snaps. And it really just became harder with the higher volume of people trying to reach out to me or sending me pictures of their cat and different things like that. And that's hard because sometimes people message you with urgency, like, quicken, I need this answer from you now, it's really important, I'm here and it's happening. And then sometimes people are like, do you like this nail polish? And then I'm like, oh my god, let me answer you. And then I'm like, oh, I do, girl. So it's hard. It's like, I don't know, really up and down, and definitely hard to stay on top of. And I don't know, like, making me feel guilty about it is hard because just know I already do. I already feel guilty all the time. I feel guilty I can't use my camera, that I didn't go to film school, that I didn't finish my communications degree, and all of this stuff, because I really do wish I can offer more to myself, to YouTube and to, like, my social media platforms. And I get that it's hard to reach out to me. I had 2 active PayPal disputes from people who just messaged me to say hi, and I was like, hey, do you need a refund? And they were like, no, I'm just saying hi. And I was like, oh, well, this is the refund procedure. And I had to contact PayPal about that. So, I mean, people are reaching out to me literally in every single platform that they possibly can. And I know it's hard because you want your message to be read by me. And I just don't know I don't know that sweet balance between, my focus all this time, I don't know that balance between creating new content and interacting with people. And I have the 5 Fact Friday so I can interact with you guys, and I have the Tattoo Talk Tuesday so I can interact with you guys. And I'm planning the pop-up shop, and I had the meetup, and it's hard because I want to interact with you more and more and more and more. And I said this, I think, on a story on Tumblr, that I think some YouTubers build walls and create a sense of celebrity around themselves, so they do seem like unobtainable, and I don't ever want to do that. I do want to seem approachable. I do want it to be like, you know, I'll see tweets that are like, I'm going to Philly today and all I want to do is run into Quicken, and I want to seem like I'm a person you can run into and have a conversation with, and I totally am. Like the girl who stopped me on the train, and people who stop me on the streets, and people who come into my salon, my coffee shop. Like, I do want to seem like I am a force that, like, if you ran into me, it would still be okay, and I would still, like, hold your hands and tell you, like, thank you for approaching me. I'm not the YouTuber who creates that, like, how close do I have to be? I don't want to be the YouTuber who creates that, like, false sense of, like, huge celebrity around myself. Like, that's not it at all. I still drive the same old Bronco. But reaching out to me is only, like, I can't answer everybody, and that's really hard, and it's really hard to say that out loud because I am somebody who puts so much of myself out there directly for you guys. So when I get the messages like, hey, I asked you this before and you never answered me and now it's too late, like, that really hurts, because you know, I'm not a professional anything. I'm not a professional tattoo artist, piercer, therapist. I guess I am a professional hairstylist, like, legally. So anything you have with urgency, if you had to go to a doctor or something, you have to do that first. Like, I'm not your doctor or anything like that. Anything with urgency that requires my answer, you might have to seek professional help. But the only thing I can tell you is, you know, normally if you comment down below, if I don't answer you, the community is really awesome. They will generally answer you if you have a question. If you hit me up on Twitter, it's more likely for me to be able to read it because I can pull it up on the computer. And, you know, if you comment on my videos, if you comment on my Instagram, like, I recognize your names and I see it. And, you know, I do check my Tumblr Ask box for 5 Fact Friday and stuff like that. But if you hit me up on Tumblr with urgency, it's kind of hard. And I am only one person. And I am the one who makes the videos and finds the questions and answers them. So if you feel disheartened that you messaged me and I didn't message you back, I mean, so do I. So that's hard. And I hate to disappoint you with an answer that isn't more fulfilling or isn't more positive. What do you think? How can I answer messages?
You got almost 150,000 subscribers at this point. How are you going to be able to respond to all of them?
I don't know.
You can't.
Yeah, but it sucks to say that.
Yeah, but it's kind of the reality.
John's hitting us with a dose of reality. I burnt my thumb earlier. Alright, well, this is 5 Fact Friday. You want to say bye?
Bye.
Bye. Leave your questions down below. Like, I'm not trying to say those words to discourage you at all. Like, it's not a discouraging thing. Like, if you have questions for 5 Fact Friday, leave them in the comments. Submit them how you've been submitting them. You know, there are definitely times where I'll have, like, a call for questions, and then other times where I use questions that I've had before. And if you want to reach out to me personally, like, you know, don't feel discouraged, but just know that I try my best. I love you guys. Until next week. Bye.